Quick shout out to High Level Pro Tools. High Level Pro Tools are your go-to partner when it comes to high level white label support. If you are building SaaS or your marketing agency and you need to help to serve your client better, get in touch with High Level Pro Tools. They offer amazing support. They would answer any questions your customers may have 24/7 about the platform. They also help you with the navigation around the platform for your customers, and they can even help you with onboarding. How cool is that? So if you are running an agency powered by Go High Level, or you're building SaaS and you need support for your customers, High Level Pro Tools are your go-to guys. I highly recommend them. Link below, and don't hesitate to get in touch with them. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. We have another special guest today, Amrita. Amrita, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your surname. You better do it yourself. And tell us more about, you are into coaching business and you used to work for a big, large corporate organization. So tell us more. What do you do?
Thank you for having me, Vera. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I have spent almost 2 decades running, building technology team in financial institution, especially U.S. financial institution. After working for like 19 plus years, I felt that I got to create something of my own. I want to leave a legacy behind for my kids, for the community, from where I belong, for my roots, to remember me by, right? That she has done something beyond just earning money and providing for the family, right? Which is important. I am not saying that's not important, but it's just that I wanted to have an identity beyond a particular corporate name or title. So that was my driver to go for my business. So I have a company called Shevolution, which is a coaching and mentoring platform for working women. So I work as a coach with them to help them in their journey of whether they want to go start their business or they want to just go up to the next level and take a new role or get a promotion. Whatever their goal might be, I kind of walk with them in that journey and see, okay, because every journey is unique. And as a coach, I think I walk next to them and try to figure out what's unique about this journey and where we can make a difference together. So yeah, that's what I do. I have published a couple of books. Both of them are anchored into strong women protagonists because I believe women are strong. It's just that sometimes you need a reminder from outside before you can lean inside and see who you are. So yeah, I in this journey for almost 2 years now, and I'm thoroughly enjoying learning each and every day. So yeah, that's what I have been doing so far.
Yeah, and looking at your profile, you were ex-employee of Goldman Sachs and you work for 13 years. This is a very big company and you had a very senior role, right? You were senior vice president. This is very huge, guys. If you have any questions, comment in this video below for the ex-employee of Goldman Sachs. I am already personally very curious because I used to work in financial services. But when you hear big names, big banks of, like Chase, HSBC, Goldman Sachs, it's huge. And so tell us a bit more about corporate world and especially women in this very tough industry.
Sure, sure. So, yeah, the 13 years I've spent with Goldman has been one of the most learning, like it was filled with learning, rewards, growth, challenges, quite a bit of them. So it's a wonderful organization. Obviously, there is a lot of pressure at times. You feel like you are learning to swim in a river with high current, and that's not easy by any means. But I think what it teaches us is to just be flexible, learn as you go, right? assess the situation, understand the people around us. So, and I have been very fortunate to get this opportunity to do a lot of big projects, work with really senior, really talented people very early on in my career, and I have learned loads from them. And I tell this that I have worked with people all the way from Tokyo, Hong Kong, going to San Francisco. I have worked with people in China. I have worked with people in Brazil. So this is immense learning in itself, right? Outside the project, outside the technology and the business, just working with people all across the globe gives you perspective. So that has been very, very rewarding. Yes, it can be challenging for women at times because still the society, the family, their expectations, which are different. When you have kids, you kind of by default become the primary caregiver. But one thing I can say, having spent 13 years there, it does not matter whether your gender doesn't come, right? It's what you bring to the table. So sometimes I feel that, okay, I had to forget that, okay, I'm the primary giver, I'm the mother, I am just playing the role of a VP or senior VP, and I am adding this value. I'm accountable for this. And in that moment, I learned to really focus on one thing at a time. When I was at work, I wasn't worrying about, okay, what is my 8 months old doing at home? I didn't know. I couldn't possibly focus. So it helped me like switch on and off, prioritize really heavily, when to say no confidently, and when to reach out to people without hesitation, right? I knew someone, didn't know someone, what's their rank, what's their title. In Goldman, I learned, right, when you need to just get something done, you call up, you reach out, you just do what it's needed to get it done. So, yeah, I think that was my experience.
Yeah, and I think it was a very bold move to actually move from such a high position in a very, very big company. How did all that happen? What make you to decide that you want to, move out of this big corporate world? I'm sure it was very hard because, to reach even your level, I'm sure it's not easy, and many people, many women in your spot would never leave, would never think of leaving. So what did make you, to go into direction and be your own business owner?
Sure. No, I'd be happy to share this because interestingly, I was talking to someone a couple of days ago, and this was the very conversation we were having. Um, Essentially what happens after 10, 15, 20 years is that we associate our identity with that company, right? When we are going anywhere, whether it's a community event, it's a family event, or an industry event, right? When we get the question is like when we need to introduce ourselves, the first thing we start with is, okay, I'm a director in this company, right? That's how we start. That becomes our identity. So I was very becoming very conscious about the identity that I want to build, right? How I want people to know me, remember me. And I'm not saying by any means the name of the company or the name of the title has any problem, right? They are wonderful. And it takes a lot of effort, courage, and dedication for years to get there. And I already mentioned that how much we learn in the process. But at the same time, I wanted to build an identity outside that, right? Who am I? When my kids talk about me after I'm gone, maybe, what would they remember, right? Okay, my mom created something from scratch, something we can be proud of, something which creates impact in other people's lives. So that was my driver. So I have nothing against corporates, of course, but at the same time, I really wanted to build something which is I can call my own, and in the process learn as well. Because when you're running a business, you're pretty much wearing many, many, many hats, right? And you know that
Yeah,
this
I know that. Yeah,
so
and
well.
I realized, I heard you have a little child. Yeah, when you were working at the corporate. I had very similar situation. I started my business when I was 8 months pregnant with my second one, and my first one was only 1.5 or maybe two. Yeah, two. And yeah, people were telling me, Vera, finally you're gonna relax. But then, my friend approached, hey, let's start a business. Moreover, our company were like reducing office, like they were shutting offices and moving to other country. And I was like about to go to my maternity anyway. So that was the time, perfect time to just relax. But no, it's not me. But also, I realized, I was thinking I don't want to work corporate anymore because I want to be with my kids. I don't want to work 8 hours a day. And then little did I know that working for yourself is actually not 8 hours a day, it's 20 or 7.
Exactly.
And this is something I kind of miscalculated. And also when you work for corporate, I had like 25 people in marketing department. I have things to delegate, designer, developer, you just
Yeah.
delegate stuff. And when you're by yourself, you need to do sales, marketing, you need to send emails, you need to do accounting, you need to like basically, and if you're a mother, I think it's even more difficult. I really would like to, give big shout out to all the women who do both because it's really the one of the hardest jobs. I also have some friends who have 3 or 4 kids and feel very guilty that they don't work. And they say, oh, but I don't work. And I say, listen, you're doing so much. I actually
Exactly.
find it's easier to go to the office rather than do this kids stuff at home. So I feel like very many women, they kind of under value themselves by either just taking care of kids or you know what I mean, right? So I think
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
very. And also, I like you were working in your company, right? And how many women in leadership you had during your career? Was it mainly
Yeah.
men or?
That's definitely a question I would answer. But before I get to that, I must give you one really big applause because of what the decision that you took with 2 small kids, and to all the women out there who are undervaluing themselves, like raising kids is a full-time job, right? We many a time we do not value it as much. And taking care of the like running a house is also no less than running an office sometime, right? You need to take care of so many things. You need to multitask. So anyone out there listening to us, I want to say, please do value yourself, do invest in yourself. And life is not ending. Kids will grow up, they will have their own lives, and you can always start what you are meant to start. So I just wanted to share that, Vera, before we move on to the next question,
Yeah, that's
which
really
is,
important. Yeah. If there's any women who are watching us, just comment and honestly don't hesitate to start anything. Even if you fail tomorrow, we all failed many, many times. I failed many times. It's not my first business. And
yeah.
I feel like it's great lessons.
Absolutely. And I'm sure both of us, Vera, you and me, would love to help those women out there who might be struggling and thinking, okay, what do I start? How do I start? Even if they're ready. So please do not hesitate to reach out. We would love to help you in your journey. So coming to your question about
Yeah.
how many women, so of course it was the higher we go, the numbers reduce. Right, that has been a consistent rate. So when we recruit, especially in engineering, in a field of technology, where I was, when we recruit from colleges, which is mostly equal, right? When we go to the campus and we hire, it's mostly like almost 50-50, if not exactly. But by the time it comes to VP, it might be less than like 20%. And then you get to senior VP, it's like maybe 9%. And the further you go up in and we all know what's the number of women CEOs, right? And women board members. It is changing, but it is definitely not changing at a pace I would like. Equality seems like still 100+ years away, and I am sad that I might not make it till that time to see that. I would love to, but yeah, it might not be a realistic dream. So, yes, it is hard. And sometimes when you are the only one in the room, it makes it even harder. You feel like you got to put extra effort to prove yourself. You have to be doing 10, 20, 30% more than everyone else to prove that you deserve the seat, right? And one conversation we used to always have, like at least 10 years ago, seat at the table, seat at the table. Now I know, at least in the last couple of years, I hear more about building your table, which was definitely not the conversation 10, 15 years ago. And even building your table is not as straightforward as it is talked about in some of the speeches and stages, right? It sounds very cool, but when it comes to building that table, you need support from both men and women, right? You need support from all genders for that matter, right? And it's one world for all of us, and understanding the value that each one brings is going to benefit everyone. So when we are building a table which values women, that table is very much for men too. And we should not forget that while building the new table, because otherwise we will create more problem than solutions. At least that's what I feel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And how do you, I feel like you speak a lot about emotional, especially for women. We're all very emotional. At some point, I thought, oh, the business is probably not for me. I get too emotional. If my client is not happy, if somebody complain, I would take things too seriously. When man is totally different. Like my husband is a businessman. He can't, like, for him he's like, Vera, it's business. Like, don't even think about it. Like they, like, men have this ability to block things, and women is totally different. And since you're working with women, how do you, yeah, just tell me more about this, how to deal with this emotional emotional hormones and all the stuff we are facing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love to share my thoughts on that, right? You see, I talk about emotional intelligence in general as a topic, but especially for women, many a time what happens is that, especially like in corporates, people say that, oh, she's too emotional to be on a leadership role, right? Which I feel is a representation of us, which is we want to kind of design intentionally, right? How we want to be perceived, right? How we want people to see ourselves. Instead of worrying about how we would look like with our emotions, if we are more aware of it, okay, this is how I'm feeling. And as a result of that, I might show up like this, and that's how the impact is going to be. So it's a design, it's a cognitive design that we can create, and we can actually leverage the emotional side of us more for our benefit, more to achieve what we want and not to obstruct us or block us in our journey. And this is not some like high in the sky cloud kind of conversation. It is real. And I'll give you an example, right? So there is somebody who's, let's say, hesitates to talk about compensation, right? Whenever it comes to talking about compensation, she will freeze, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
great at what she does, but when it comes to talking about, okay, I think I should be paid more, she can't find the courage to even talk about it. I said, let's just keep the compensation aside. Let's see how you value yourself. How do you value your work? And when we had that conversation, she said, okay, you know what? I did this project which saved the company XYZ dollars. Or I did that project where it helped revenue growth of 5%, which is so and so dollar. I said, those numbers, what does it tell you? Like, don't you think you should be compensated according to those numbers? So that helped her thinking. It is not about becoming emotional about a particular topic, but really repositioning that topic in our own head so that we can leverage the emotion, whether it's frustration, anger, or sadness, or empathy, for leveraging the outcome that we are looking to achieve.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. So this is what you're also teaching other women, right? When you speak, that's very
I do.
important. I think that's it's really important. And so obviously you work for this many years in a big corporate world, and you see leaders all the time. So what's one mistake you see leaders consistently making when it comes to managing people?
Yeah, I think the one big mistake is assumption. Instead of asking. Many a time, the leaders have good intention. Sometime, let's say, I'll give you another simple example, right? There's somebody who's going on maternity leave. She is a very ambitious type A person, right? Giving her best to really accelerate at the highest speed. And when she was going on maternity, her manager thought that, okay, maybe telling her that we are not going to keep you in loop is going to help her disconnect and focus on the baby who's on the way. Instead, that actually negatively impacted her. It hurt her thinking that, okay, I did so much and now they're just disconnecting me, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes instead of assuming what you should do to help out, I would strongly suggest, irrespective of the gender, to ask. Just ask what you can do to help, right? What you can do to support that person. That is going to be so much, like much beneficial for not only women, even for men, who are like sometimes finding it difficult to have an honest conversation or sharing. But when you ask a direct question, it becomes easier for them to say, you know what, if you do this, that's going to be very helpful for me.
Yeah, don't ask, don't get. That's what I always think. Um, yeah, and again, being women, especially if you have a kids, like at the time when I had my daughter, I don't know why I still regret it later. It was totally my choice. I didn't take maternity leave. I started working 1 week after, and but even at the time, I was in Dubai in maternity leave only 45 days, which is clearly not enough. I
Yeah.
don't know about US and other countries. I think Europe is a bit better. In UK, you probably get like few years and they have no right to fire you. But I was too worried. I had very good boss and thank God, like he allows me to work from home and he was very flexible, which was very rare at that time. Nobody worked from home at that time. It was kind of a no-no thing.
Yeah.
But again, for women, it's so difficult because you don't want to lose your position because you know, and that's what I thought. If I go now and disconnect, then I will struggle to get back and
Yeah.
they would find replacement or something. That was my bigger concern. Uh, so that's, I think I'm not the only one in there, right?
No, definitely not.
And what advice would you give to a woman who feel like overlooked or underestimated in a professional environment?
Uh, it would be less of an advice, more of a suggestion, is because I feel we are all growing together. So only thing I request all the women is just to take like 15 minutes, sit down, reflect, and take a plain piece of paper and write down all the things that you have helped elevate, accelerate at home, in communities, in offices. Sometime acknowledging our wins, no matter how small or big they are, gives us more confidence to show up with authenticity and honesty. And as women, sometimes what we do is before we undervalue ourselves, we think about things that we have done. Oh, that's not much. Oh, that's no big deal.
Oh,
Others are
that's
doing
how I
better.
always used to think. Yeah.
So you're always expecting more from yourself, which is a bar that you're constantly raising for yourself, which is a great thing to do. And I'm not saying don't do that, but take like 15 minutes to sit down and acknowledge maybe how far you have come. Acknowledge the journey, and you will find the courage to go further because it's a journey. It is not a destination. We do celebrate moments, but we need to keep going. It's not like, okay, you get somewhere and it's done. There's nothing like
Yeah.
that. So you keep going. So that's what I would suggest. And I would love to hear experiences if anyone would love to share.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Um, so how do you think, I think we talk a lot about communication, and you said like, yeah, if they don't ask, they don't know. So obviously communication is so important, right? And especially now, the growth and changes happening so fast. It's overwhelming, I would say. So obviously we also have AI in place and all the automation. So the human skills, do you believe will be more valuable with all the AI? What's your thoughts on that?
100%. Absolutely. It is the human skills that would differentiate us. We do not need to be faster in calculating basic numbers. And, that's not where we would add value anymore. Where we will add value is understanding a unique scenario and finding the best course of action. What AI can tell us, looking at years of data, hundreds of years of data, and say, okay, this is the best possible that has happened so far. But what if the new scenario is different? AI cannot suggest you the best possible course of action for that. And that's where human skills come in. And our ability to connect with other humans, that's going to be extremely critical because as a manager, maybe 25 years ago, the role was more to supervise the task, oversee the task. Okay, you're doing this, you should do that. That's not necessary anymore. What is necessary is to bind them together and get them accelerated towards a common vision, understanding their motivators, like what motivates people, what triggers them, what upsets them, understanding that and bringing them together to that common goal is something that only a human can do and no machine can. So I feel 100% empathy, communication, all of these are going to be crucial for any role, and especially for roles where people need to influence other people, right? In a people management role, leadership role, these are going to be very key qualities.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. One tough question. What's one uncomfortable truth about personal growth or leadership that people don't like hearing?
It is not going to be a fun ride. It is not going to be a happy day. There will be a lot of moments where you will find yourself alone, where you will find that no matter how hard you try, no one is understanding what you are trying to do. Um, and I think that is okay because this expectation which comes like, okay, people should get it. I'm giving all the data and they should get it. What I'm suggesting is right is not, it is coming from a sense of insecurity. Because if we are 100% sold on what we are doing and we know it is going to work, even if others do not necessarily agree all the time, we are mostly okay. But we do have those moments where we feel that, okay, I might not make it, and we look for support. And when that support doesn't come, we feel that we are lonely, we are struggling alone. And leadership is definitely a journey where those moments are going to be there. When you're trying to do right by the people, but the very people you are trying to do right by would not understand your decision or not
Yeah.
appreciate it, which is definitely very hard. But in a long run, I think if we are clear to our concerns, if we do what's like aligned to integrity and honesty and transparency, people will eventually know what you did was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I would want to, clap for that. Thank you so much for sharing. And before we wrap up, if someone listening us today and feels stuck in their career or lacking confidence, what would you want them to remember?
First of all, I never use the word stuck, right? I would say that it is a phase where you might be growing, you might be stretching yourself, you might be figuring it out, right? What is that really you are meant to do? Which might slow you down in one path, but it is getting you ready for another. So definitely think from a different angle. Don't think that I'm slower than others. Think about where are you in your own journey and how do you want to take, which diversion you want to take, whether you want to go right or left or straight ahead, right? So that's what I would say for the first one. If someone is lacking confidence, once again, I would say that look at your journey and appreciate your journey. In many a time, confidence is all about having the clarity. Confidence follows when we know what we are working on, what's the purpose, what's the vision we are aligned to. Most of us at times are just doing our daily grinds without knowing where we are headed. So when we take a road trip, we do not really necessarily see the destination, but we know that we are going there because we are crossing those interim milestones. So when someone is lacking confidence, I would say, okay, how far have you reached? And are you in the right direction? And do you have the right kind of support and tool to move further ahead? And if you don't, reach out for help. Raise your hand and say, I need this help. And believe it or not, it is really interesting. More often than not, when we ask for help, people actually say yes. It's rarely people say no, but we still hesitate to ask for help. So definitely ask for help and you will get it.
Yeah, don't. I also think like when you feel like you don't know which direction to move, is always never be shy to ask for help, right?
Absolutely.
Because most of us
Absolutely.
sometimes we just kind of lock ourselves inside and then we decide to to be by ourselves, struggle with our own problems. But once you speak to someone, you already find your way out even by speaking to someone. Thank you, Amrita, so
True.
much. Thank you for joining me today. If anybody would like to speak to you directly, how can they find you?
LinkedIn is the best place to find me, I would say. But of course, you can reach out to me and block time on my calendar using my website, which is thrivingwomenstribe.com. Find me there. I would love to say hello, even if you are not really looking to get a specific help and just want to meet and connect. I would love to meet. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll leave links in the description. Don't forget to like and share if you get some value from our podcasts. And if you need to speak to Amrita directly, we will also leave below link to her calendar and LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us today.